Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mastery of Money Live 21 ways to generate $10,000 or more from experts who are making big money and making a big difference. Because if you're like me, that's really important to you. I am really excited to have with me today Terry Dean. And we're doing this summit together to share with you tips and tools and practices, ideas for really solid revenue generating ideas. Things that you can put into play right away to make 2015 your best year ever. And I'm really excited that we have experts who are not only making big money, but making a difference in the world with the money that they're making. And they're sharing these ideas with us so that we can step forward in those things with us too. So let me introduce Terry to you. Terry Dean went from delivering pizzas for Little Caesars at $8 an hour to creating a full-time income online in 1996. He's been called one of the grandfathers of internet marketing and was one of the first online marketers to demonstrate the power of email, generating $96,250 from an email to his list in front of a live audience. Pretty amazing. He sold his first business in 2004 to semi-retire at the age of 30. Yes, he's very young. In 2006, he began coaching entrepreneurs one-on-one how to earn more, work less, and enjoy life on the internet. So I'm really excited to have Terry with us today. Welcome, Terry.
I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be talking about this subject, how people can make good money online and build a long-term business generating profits, because we're going to talk a little bit about both as we go through this.
Terrific. Well, we're excited that you're here to share that with us, because I think it's an opportunity today that's huge. So what do you see as the #1 way to move an entrepreneur to 6 figures, 7 figures, or beyond online?
Well, the big thing with the clients I've worked with is I've worked with a lot of clients now. As I said, I started in 1996, and back then I pretty much got started, we'll say the hard way that you could think of. I went out and bought my first PC, and I basically taught myself to use my first PC. And I got started with information marketing. The original place for me was I started by buying licenses to several, we're way back in the old times now, VHS videos is what I was selling at the time, especially like self-help videos. And I learned back there a couple of very important aspects and that I work with my clients now, because since then I've worked with hundreds of clients directly, one-on-one, and also I've had tens of thousands of customers through my lists and other products. And there's a couple of really big aspects of building a long-term business. And I really see making good money quickly online and making a long-term business as connected together. And with both of them, the first one is knowing the value of an email list, building an email list, and then the second aspect is building a funnel that generates income. And I like to say it this way. People always get bound up thinking about traffic. Like, how can I get the most traffic to my website? When the reality is you can have unlimited traffic, and that's a term that Jonathan Meisel first said, the unlimited traffic secret. And the unlimited traffic secret simply means if I can turn eyeballs into income better than my competition, then I can control any source of traffic. That means I can go out and I can buy AdWords traffic. I can buy Facebook pay-per-click traffic. The affiliates would prefer to promote me than someone else. Let me give an example on affiliates, because that's probably the easiest one to relate to. Is if I have a website and my website generates $3 per visitor and my competitors are generating $2 per visitor or even $1.50 per visitor, then it's to both of our benefits to set up an affiliate agreement where they can send traffic to me and we both earn more money. So where it really goes to is traffic goes to whoever can generate the income out of the traffic. And so what I deal with clients a lot is we build funnels. And funnels means that we build an opt-in. We'll usually build a front-end item that's low cost that gives people a lot of benefits, and then we'll build upsells into that into a back-end sequence. So I don't think about individual products anymore. I think about entire funnels and systems all the way through, including like autoresponder follow-up. So there's a lot of aspects. I'm sure you'll have questions for follow-up for this, but that's the way I think about the business. Is I don't deal in products, I deal in funnels, and building up the funnel, we can build a good income both for quick advertising, for affiliate promotions, and for long-term income in the business.
Wow, there's so much to learn with the internet, and what I find really intriguing is that relationships still play a really big part in everybody having a lot of success with that. So I think that's really interesting. Could you share your proven formula for reviewing and multiplying the profits of websites and emails?
Okay, the formula that I use whenever I'm looking at anything for a website is, I call it the golden glove. Okay, the golden glove means there's 5 aspects to it, and I call it the golden glove because you can look at it just like you look at your hand. The golden glove for doing conversion, and I use the same formula whether I'm reviewing an email, whether I'm reviewing a website, whether I'm reviewing a webinar, whatever I'm reviewing. I look at it in the basis of the golden glove, and the 5 keys are, so the 5 keys to conversion are desperate problem, unique promise, overwhelming proof, an irresistible offer, and a reason to act now. So those are the 5 aspects. So desperate problem, unique promise, overwhelming proof, irresistible offer, and a reason to act now. And anything I look at, I always review based off of that system. And I first developed that system because I've done a lot of conferences where I've spoken to large audiences, and we'll usually do like hot seats at many of these conferences. And a hot seat means someone comes up, they show their website, they show their email, and we needed a way to review the website really quickly. And I discovered after using this a bunch of times, I can pretty much look at anyone's website and they're going to be missing at least one of the 5 elements. If the website's not converting, they're missing at least one of the 5 elements. They're not talking to the problem. And let me explain each one rather quickly here. The desperate problem means look at the website and are you calling out the specific audience that you're speaking to? So if I'm writing, let's say that I have a website that I'm going to help chiropractors generate more leads. Well, I'm going to make sure that I mention how hard it is somewhere on the website for chiropractors to generate leads today. I'm going to specifically name them that I'm speaking to them. And it doesn't matter what the market is. I'm just using that as an example. No matter what the market is, I call out the audience, who I'm speaking to, and what the big problem they're suffering from. And I look for that when I look at the website or email or anything else. The next thing is the unique promise. Do you have a promise that stands out for the competition? Here's the mistake everybody makes. We put up a website and we make promises, we make benefits. But people aren't looking for a decent solution to their problem. They're not looking for a good solution. They're looking for the best solution to the problem. So do you have a unique promise, a benefit, an offer that stands out to the specific audience that you're speaking to? That's the second aspect. The third aspect is overwhelming proof. And this is the one that people probably fail on the most when you're looking at a website. Anytime you make a big promise, you need to back that up with proof. How do you prove that statement? And proof could come in a lot of different ways, such as case studies, testimonials. Those are great forms of proof. Some of the other forms of proof people don't talk about as much are sometimes even more effective, such as demonstrations. An example of demonstrations is look at any infomercial. You'll see infomercials do demonstrations heavily. Here's how this product works. Here's how we use this product. This is the product in action. And that's a demonstration as an element of overwhelming proof. There's a lot of different forms of proof. For example, media logos. A couple of years ago, I did a press release out, and that generated a lot of media attention. And then now I take that media attention, all those media logos, and put it on a lot of my websites. See, there's other things you do too. I've written a couple of books, so those end up on my websites as form of proof. So that's part of the reason why I say it's overwhelming proof, is we look what all forms of proof can we provide on our website or in our emails that back up the promise that we're making. And another good statement is pretty much hype is a promise without proof. So whenever you hear someone saying, that sounds too hypey, I don't know if I can believe that, they're just basically saying that's a promise without proof, that we didn't back it up. Then we come into an irresistible offer. Is your offer good enough that you're giving people more value than what they're spending? Is it more painful to have this problem, and or is it more painful for them to give you money to solve the problem? So we got to think about, is the irresistible good enough that, if the irresistible offer good enough that it stands out from everything in the competition, people say this is an amazing value for this price. And there's a lot of ways we might make it irresistible. We might do a trial offer. We might make a 100% money back guarantee. We might do a double your money back guarantee with conditions if they actually follow the system we're offering. So there's a lot of ways we can make the offer stronger. And then we come in a reason to act now. Is there some type of scarcity? Why should someone take action now instead of waiting? Everyone's always waiting. If you give them the opportunity, they'll wait till next week. But by next week, they're going to get 150 other offers, and they're going to forget about yours. So how do you motivate them to take action now? Is there an extra bonus? Is there a discount price? Is there a reason they have to act now for it? And that really, each of these aspects, you can look at any website, and are they missing one of them? That's like the quick review system. And to make that as a promise, a lot of times when I go to these different conferences or I speak to people on the phone, I basically tell you I can find ways to improve the conversion of a website in 15 minutes or less, and I just run right down that system. I look for, okay, did we hit this? Did we hit this? Did we hit this? And that's a really quick tool for anybody to increase the conversion of the website or conversion of email, because you could run through an email, do the exact same thing if the email is making an offer. Did we hit all 5 major points in the email?
I'm taking notes. This is great. So I know this is a little off topic for what we have here, but what are your thoughts on like the email versus the website versus sales pages? I mean, we hear about all of those, and do those things flow together? Do they complement? Is something better than another?
I use all of them together. It's part of what I'm talking about when I say the funnel. And you can look at each piece individually, but you need to look at it in a flow. Let me give you an example. I have a lot of clients right now who are running a lot of Google pay-per-click and a lot of Facebook pay-per-click. So a lot of my clients are in one of those or another. And recently I was reviewing a client who spends like $150,000 a month on his Facebook ads. Okay, we're talking serious money to go through. And when you're spending that kind of money in your ads, here's what I did looking at his system. We looked at his ad. We then looked at his landing page. We then looked at after someone opted in, because it was an opt-in landing page. They then had a sales page. I looked at the first 10 emails in his autoresponder sequence that drove them back to a sales page, and I was looking at each aspect, running each one through the review, saying, is there anywhere, even one little thing we can do? Because if you're at that volume, 150 grand a month, if we find one little thing in your funnel, we can increase the response. A 10% bump in the opt-in rate, for example, makes that profit all the way across. Anything that we do anywhere in that system is an improvement. And when I look at a funnel like that, I actually look at how consistent it is. So if we look at the front end, he has a lot of Facebook ads he's testing. Well, one of the first things I said to him was, okay, this Facebook ad over here is outproducing every other Facebook ad by a long shot. Well, then I want to take the text that is on that Facebook ad, and I want to test it as our headline on our landing page, because it's producing really awesome right here. So let's try it here. We want to match the ad to the landing page opt-in. Same thing with the image. If we have an image that's doing awesome in the Facebook ads, since images are very important there, we test putting that image on the landing page too. And then we do a lot of tests on the landing page, on the opt-in, and if the test that produces the best there, we try to extend that over to the sales page. So if we find this headline works really well here, let's integrate that into the sales page. Same thing with the sales page and emails. Kind of works on the email side first. So if we send out emails and a certain email has a lot higher click-through rate and a lot higher click-through rate and purchase rate off of that email, then we're thinking, is there a way we could integrate the story we told in that email into the sales page? So we're looking at each piece all together as one consistent message. And a way to refer to that is message to market match. And is everything in our funnel congruent with where we're going from it? And so that's the way I look at the whole thing when we're dealing with something like that.
Great. I think that consistency is something that I heard is so important. And then the other thing to know is that it does take that finessing. And so you really do want to pay attention to what's pulling and what's not. That's such a good reminder. So what are the best ways to increase the average transaction value per sale?
Okay, well, the average transaction value, for the conversion, we work with the golden glove. So the transaction value, this means usually we'll come in with a lower cost front-end offer, an irresistible offer that is easy for people to say yes to. Let me give you an example. I like to give these as examples with clients that I've worked with. I have a client who sells a monthly membership site, okay, and I think we're priced at like $39 a month on his membership site. Well, one of the things that we tested and produced really well was, a lot of people don't know this because we all want to sell membership sites, we all want to sell continuity, but a lot of times the continuity is a little bit of a tough sale, okay, because people don't want to sign up for a monthly bill every month. Well, what we did in his case is we took some of the things that are inside of his site, we broke them out and we sold them separately. So you can buy this one-time product for $19.95, and then immediately after somebody bought that, we offered the continuity as an upsell for free. So the first month free, and then $39 a month after the first month, after somebody just purchased the $19.95 offer. We got a much higher conversion rate on the first item because it's just a one-time sale, $19.95. Hey, that's an easy purchase. Then somebody has their credit card out for the upsell. It's just a one-click upsell. Hey, we'll also give you all these additional benefits inside the membership site, all these bonuses, just for trying out the membership for $39 a month, and we'll give it to you first month free. That's an irresistible offer as an upsell. It actually sold more continuity memberships as an upsell than it did selling it on the front end. So that's an example of how to think about this. And again, it's thinking about the whole funnel in place. How can I increase the average transaction value what can we integrate as an upsell? Can we integrate a higher ticket offer? And here's the biggest mistake people make with the upsells. Is you'll hear people say, well, I don't want to do upsells because, I don't want to make my customers feel like I want more money, take more money out of them. I don't want them to get offended at me or think I'm just selling them things. Well, that's the wrong concept to come from. It's not. Don't sit there and think, okay, what can I upsell that gives me the actual, maximum money from them? What I want to think about with the upsell is what is most congruent, what is most consistent with what we just sold them, that we can, in the upsell, this is the text I've done for a lot of clients, is I'll look at an upsell page, so we made an offer, they make a sale, and then they go to the upsell page immediately after and they're making another offer. The biggest mistake they make is they don't mention the first product somebody just bought. They don't mention the value of the first product. So what you never want to do in an upsell is you don't want to have an upsell that people think, well, this is what I should have really bought instead of what you just sold me. What we want is something that adds to the upsell. An example of an upsell I have is I have a low-cost course that teaches creating your first information product. Well, as an upsell, I have an upsell that then tells you how to get traffic to your first information product that you just generated, how to get affiliates to promote for you, because that's a consistency there. Okay, you just created your first product, you just made an awesome choice. So that's what I get to say on the upsell page. You made an excellent choice. You're now going to know exactly how to create your very first information product. You're going to be able to create that, and now the next step after you create an information product is that you're going to want to generate traffic to it. Here's the best way to generate traffic, and then go to the offer. And you're going to find that generally on an upsell page, I don't use quite as much proof here because we've already gotten someone over to this aspect. The sales copy is usually a lot shorter for the upsell page because we've already convinced them I don't need to retell my story. I'm basically just saying how this adds to what they just purchased, how this is the next step. And that's the question to ask yourself at the upsell, is what is the next step after they purchase this first product? What is the next thing they have to do? Or the other question, so that's one question, is what's the next step? The other question is there any way I can make it easy for them? Here's an example. I have a client who sells in a business-to-business industry. Don't want to get anything private for him, so I'm not going to say the exact industry, but it's a business-to-business industry. He has a kit of ads he sells for the industry. So the business owner purchases this kit, and they could run the ads in their newspapers, things like this. They're already done for them. Okay, they sell a lot of continuities immediately after somebody buys that because he has a partnership with a partner who will take the ads out of the kit and call the newspapers and negotiate rates for them and basically run the ads for them. So the first sell is the kit. The next sell is, okay, my partner will actually take the kit, choose the ads for you, and contact the newspapers and run the ads for you, actually do it all for you. And it's a monthly fee of like $200 to $300 a month for them to do all that work for you. So you can take the kit and do that. See, that's an obvious next step, making it easier what they just purchased. So, what's the next step, or how can I make it even easier to accomplish what they just purchased? What you absolutely don't want to do is you don't want to discredit what you just sold, or you destroy your upsell.
I think that one of the things that I'm hearing is to make sure that it's bite-sized pieces for your client. I know that when you give way too much, way too fast, it just overwhelms and tilts people. So I love not only is it better from a marketing standpoint, but it's also better for your client as well. So are there a few tips you could share about earning more with email marketing? Because we all do email marketing today.
Yes, well, with email, I've been doing that for a long time now, since '96 doing email. That was my first big discovery. It took me about the first 6 months or so when I came online. I figured out that my income was pretty much directly proportional to the size of my list as I was growing the list. So all other things being equal, if you keep the same audience, as your list grows, you can earn more income from the list. That's kind of like an obvious statement, but it took me a while to figure that out. Once I seen how important that was, I started concentrating a lot more on the list. And I've learned several systems, and so I'm going to give people a couple of alliterations here so that we can remember for our email marketing. All right? And the first one is I want you to think about the 3 E's of email. I want you to entertain, educate, and earn from every email. So every email we want to entertain, educate, and earn. Now, that's a nice, simple step-by-step system for the email. Entertain means that you want your email to be entertaining. It needs to stand out from others. And for most of us, the best way to entertain is to tell a story. Okay, we're not natural comedians. We're not stand-up comedians. We're not great at telling jokes. but we can tell a story. And even better if your story has a punchline to it. That's even better for this. There's a old statement I heard when I first did some of my first presentations in front of audiences. Is one of the promoters. I got up and spoke. I guess I was really dry and boring, but hey, he stuck me up for 4 hours the first time I ever spoke. That's like a trial by fire to get up and speak for 4 hours. But afterwards, he told me that you don't have to be funny to be a speaker. You only have to be funny if you want to get paid. And that same thing applies to email. Is you want to think about, is there a story I can tell? Is there a connection I can make? And it doesn't always have to be a funny story. So when I say entertain, don't think it have to be funny, but think about anything that's a drama, anything that there'd be a movie about. There's a story. There's something going on here that's of interest. An example is the highest commented blog post I've ever written was actually one I wrote when I was really sad because I wrote it the day after my golden retriever died. The first golden I had, he died. I wrote the blog post the next day after, and basically was just saying how my business partner was gone, and had pictures of him and all this kind of things. And I was upset when I wrote it, so I'm not selling anything or anything like that. But then I have tons and tons of comments in that blog post of people saying how sweet that was, and there were even a bunch of comments of people saying that they needed to buy something from me because if I love my dog that much, then I was someone that they wanted to do business with. It made a connection. It identified with them, just telling a story from my own life. So think about that in emails. Can you tell a story? Can you make a connection? And sometimes they're just little stories that you'll tell. And then with the story, the next aspect is there's something that you're educating. Are you giving them value, something that they can take away from it? And then the earning part is to remember to make an offer. And while I don't have like special offers that end every day in every email, I will say that at least 95% of my emails have a link where they can go buy something. So I am always selling at some point. There's something they can buy, but I am entertaining and I'm educating them along with the selling. And like just to give you another story, this just shows a little daily life story. One of the stories I told was a fact that I wear contacts, and so I went to the optometrist, and just while I was there, I don't remember how it came up, I think I mentioned the fact that people around my area just can't drive, and he told me that he has a lot of patients who come in who are legally blind when they show up, and he tells them that they're not leaving until they get glasses, all right? And that's this area, so they just can't see in this area. So that created an email for me that I had to go home and write and tell that story, and I wrote a subject line called Blind Drivers and Broke Gurus. And this, basically the email told that story, and then I went to, as my educational part, is to make sure that you're only listening to people who have actually been successful before. Don't follow the blind drivers and the broke gurus, of course, and then I go into a little pitch for a product. It worked really, really well as a little daily story, so think about the daily stories you can tell. So that's the first one, is the threes. The second one that I want you to think about are the M's. And what the M's mean is I want to think about the mistakes, the misconceptions, and the myths in my industry. What are the mistakes, misconceptions, and myths in my industry as the three M's? And this especially applies to like the first few emails in an autoresponder sequence, but it applies all the time, is you don't just want to give people content. You want to give them contrarian content, which stands out from what others are saying. So what mistakes have you made personally that you can talk about? I like telling my mistakes that I've made. What are the myths in your industry that you can talk about? What do other people believe? And along with that, what are the misconceptions? What are the minor different beliefs? What are other people saying that is wrong? Another way to phrase those three is figure out what makes you angry about your industry that you could stand up and shout from a rooftop all the time. You could just get up and say, this is the right direction, this is what we need to fix, this is something that we need to do. And you make that as part of your message with the email, because with email, the big key that everybody misses is email is there to build a relationship, which you mentioned very early on. We want a relationship, and that's what we're using email for. And another little one to look at to go with these, if you're not having fun writing your emails, nobody else is having fun reading them. So make sure that you're having fun when you write the emails. Make sure that there's some emotion. Like when I write the emails, when you're emotional, it's a very good time. So you're in a good mood. Like I'll get up and go play ball in the backyard with my dog. And you know, with my German Shepherd, we'll go play ball. You know, get a little excited, come back and write an email if you're good. If you're angry about something, that's a good time to write an email. Don't send the email yet if you're angry, but you can write the email now, edit it later to make sure you get the emotion and make sure that you don't say anything that you regret later on before you send it. But sit down and write it when you're emotional. So when you're in the emotional point, that's the best time to sit down and write the emails. And those are probably some of the strongest tips with the email marketing, because if you can walk out of the emails and have a relationship with your subscribers, then it's going to be much easier to make the sales. And a lot of people ask the question, how often should I send email, things like this. The reality is you can send emails as often as you have something to say. So as long as you can follow the other rules, as long as you can have contrarian content, you can send emails that often for it. You can't, obviously, you can't send pitches every day, or your list is going to quickly get off your list to quit listening to you. But if you send entertaining stories every day, they're going to enjoy that. Most of my clients send emails anywhere from once a week up to 7 times a week on average, and all of those work. It all depends on the market, who they're writing to, and how well they can really integrate stories into it.
I think that it's interesting to figure out that, you know, the internet is one of these things that connects the world in such a different way today. You know, we work with clients all across the United States and Canada, and it's some of them we've never met face to face, but we have developed this relationship over time through email marketing, through our website, and it is a way that's making the world smaller. And I think that having permission to be as personal as you can be and want to be in an email is really important. And so I think that this is a really valuable insight into how to write a really good, strong email.
It's funny. I think this might be a good illustration for people to listen to this, and that is, I've been to a lot of conferences before. Well, somebody will come up to me and start like continuing or asking about a story I told in an email 6 months ago, and I literally don't remember the story anymore. So at that point in time, you're standing in front of somebody, they're like continuing the story that you told, and you're like, yes, and this whole time you're thinking, man, I'm trying to remember which story this is, which one did we talk about, which one did it happen, because they're all true stories, but sometimes they're just like a quick little one that you tell. It might be something that happened like the day before or something like that, and you don't always remember everything that was in the story. And so that really is a good example of someone coming up and talking to you because they feel like they know you, that they're having a conversation with you. And probably the other biggest thing for me, which was a shock to me, was one of the first conferences I ever spoke at. So this is back in the early days for me. Somebody actually brought me a 3-ring binder of all of my emails they had printed out, and they asked me to sign it for them at the conference. But they told me that they took the emails across the street and like sat at the park and read all the emails each day as I sent them to them. They said that they were at their job. They would read the email, they'd print out the email, go sit at the park, read the email, and they did that each time an email came in.
Wow.
And it's part of the connection that you can make with your audience.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really powerful, and it's very telling of how open that you can be in an email. People really do want to connect with you, especially if they're considering doing business with you. So that's an amazing compliment to let you know how well you're doing with that email marketing. That's fabulous. So I know you have a free offer for our listeners today. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I have a free offer. It's over at mymarketingcoach.com/free. So it's mymarketingcoach.com/free, and you can see it in the little link at the very bottom of the video right here, mymarketingcoach.com/free. And what it is it's 7 unique ways to create profitable emails even if you're not a writer. So 7 unique ways to create profitable emails even if you're not a writer. And what I really get into there is what you're going to get the ton of value out of this is this is a copy of one of my paid newsletters. So it's actually, I'm giving you one of the paid newsletters that I write for my audience here. And in it, I share a lot of different ways that you can create the stories we've been talking about for email. And I give you 7 different types of stories that I most commonly use. Here's, for example, one of them is the mentor story, somebody who's mentored you and given you a lot of advice. Here's how you integrate a mentor story into an email. And I go through that with the 7 most common story types. And then after going through that, I also give you some cheat sheets for your emails, such as here's the step-by-step system for writing the email, how you check the email, and I also give you like 60 brain starter questions where I'm asking you questions about your life and your daily life to help you come up with more ideas for stories to tell. So like 60 different questions because the reality with stories is I'm sure that as I was talking about stories, the people watching would have said, you might have said, well, I don't know if I have stories, I don't know if I have stories to tell, or I don't know what I could tell, or I'm not interesting to listen to, I'm not entertaining. That's what a lot of people will say. We'll go through that list of stories, look through the questions, and you might not have a story for every question. but you will have, we'll say out of 60, at least 30 of them are going to speak to you, that they're going to give you a story that you can tell. And you just get started, you start telling the stories, and people are always so amazed that their audience starts responding. I've had clients who've sent to lists for years and they didn't get a response out of them. They start telling stories, and it might not be the first email, might not be the second email, but pretty soon they start getting a response. People start sending them back questions. They start asking something about their email. It might not be a sale the first time. It might just be, look, you've sent all these emails, you didn't get a sale. The first thing you get might be somebody asking you a question. Well, we're closer at that point in time. And we move from there. And then you have the other stories you can tell. And so just use the system. So that's the free gift that I'm giving you. It's 7 ways to create profitable emails, even if you're not a writer, even if you don't think that you can tell stories. And you can pick that up at mymarketingcoach.com/free.
That's a real gift. Thank you, Terry. Because I know that I have a list that I had written to for many years that didn't respond back, but I never asked them to. And what was really intriguing was when I finally made that shift to engagement, if you will, the response was wonderful, and it's really heartwarming to connect with your list in that way. So you have given us some amazing stuff today, and I thank you for being with us. I know that this method of connection on the internet is huge, and I think that anything that any of us can put into play, something new to tweak and try, because it is a process of learning, is really valuable. So thank you so much for everything you've shared with us today.
Well, thank you for inviting me here. It was fun to be here, and I hope everyone listening got a lot out of it. So take it, use it. Examine your funnels. Make sure that you're telling stories in your emails. Go through and use the Golden Glove to go analyze your site. And that's probably the first thing I tell everybody here is go pick up the freebie and then analyze your website using the Golden Glove. See how you're doing on it.
Perfect. I know I've taken a lot of notes today, and I hope our listeners have as well. I love the Golden Glove, and I love the 3 E's and the 3 M's. I mean, it's just anytime you can have a system to look at stuff against, it's just so valuable. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today. And I want to thank our listeners for being with us. I hope that you got as much out of this with our time together with Terry as I did. I know I have a lot of notes and things that I'm really excited about actually to go and test and try out. So thank you for that very generous gift. And as our listeners, make sure you don't miss any of these interviews that we're doing. As you heard today, the valuable information is just incredible, and it could be that one tweak or that one shift that helps you have more solid revenue generating ideas for 2015. Because remember, we're looking at 21 ways to generate $10,000 or more, and Terry has proven that his system works again and again. So make sure to take advantage of his free offer, and make sure to mark your calendar and not miss any of our interviews. And thanks for being with us again today, Terry. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. We'll see you soon.